Okay, so here we are. My name is George Ryken, and this is my wife Alie Ryken. We're living on a farm here in Castleton, Ontario. It's a 200-acre farm, and we have about a 60-acre woodlot comprising about 3 different parcels. And so we just would like to show you what we have in the woodlot and what we're working on and how we manage the woodlot. Originally, back in 1969, we bought the property and as a going tobacco farm. So, and that's what we did for about 17 years that we grew tobacco on this. And then in 1987, we quit growing and we turned it into general crops.
Okay, well, this is tobacco flower, and it's similar to a real tobacco plant, except the tobacco plant had pink flowers, and we used to pick it from the bottom up for the leaves. And also, when it was a real tobacco plant, we would never let the suckers grow. So this is just a pretty ornamental remembrance of tobacco days.
When we first bought the farm, this particular area was really devastated by a really heavy cutting, and it was wide open. And in about 50 years now, it's come back. And, so finally, we're having woodland again. As you look at the canopy is still quite sparse because of the gypsy moth. All the small stuff is pretty well all maple. And maple was not that prevalent up here 50 years ago. But I got a couple of seed trees and they've been working on the woods and spreading seeds around, and you can see the results of it now. So what we're looking at here is the pond, and the pond was originally dug for irrigation purposes for the crops, and since we're not using it for irrigation anymore, it's here for us to enjoy the way it is. And so in the meantime, it has been stocked with fish, and in the past we've had fishing derbies for the kids, organized by the Workwood Community Service Club, and they would have service or fishing derby every the moment trout season opens up. So usually the last week of April, and so here what we're looking at, you see a few leftovers from previous fishing derbies. This summer we got really heavily infested by the gypsy moth and defoliated a lot of the trees, and they really went after the spruce trees. So what we're looking at here is a big elm tree in the front. It was pretty well defoliated, and the spruce trees in the back. The elm tree is coming back quite nicely. I'm still not too sure about how the spruce trees will survive. They are really set back. They're all brown. And so you see various spruce trees through the area here, and they show up quite badly. So that was not a very good experience. That was the second year that we've had the gypsy moth, and I think it might be the last year. I haven't seen maybe quite as many egg masses this year than what I did last year. So this is one of the butternuts which was planted through a program to reintroduce butternuts, and Barb Boyson from Peterborough was the one behind this particular program, and she managed to give me some seedlings. And so we planted them in various places, and about half of them perished. So I got maybe about 20 of them or so left. But they're doing quite well, and they seem to be quite vigorous, so hopefully that they will hang in there for a while. Haven't seen any sign of canker or anything like that, so we'll have to wait and see how they turn out. Oh, I better clean that one up today. For some time, I would say the last 25 years, I've been encountering dog strangling vine that got into the woods. And of course, it's a very difficult thing to control in the woods, so you really can't. It can be sprayed, because I'm just trying to spray here just to hold it back from the trail so that not everything grows in on it. But other than that, we just have to let Mother Nature take its course. And so the area that we're looking at here has had dog strangling vine for about 20 years. And as you can see, there's a little oak tree there. There's still some trees coming up through. So it's not the end of it all. The woods will learn how to live with it. And it's just something that will be here. At one time before that, I had all wild raspberries as on this story. Now we got dog strangling vine. So the one beneficial thing I've noticed from this also used to be pretty solid in poison ivy. The dog strangling vine has killed all the poison ivy. So there's always a bright side to things. So what we're looking at here is a buckthorn bush or tree. They're quite invasive. That's something that I do go after from time to time, usually in the fall. My preferred method is to pull them out, because then they don't come back. If you cut them off, they might sprout and come back in a vengeance. So that's one of my little projects I do every year. So we had a tremendous crop of fiddleheads here and down there. So it's one of the first vegetables you get in the springtime, and they're most welcome. They're really good. Now that was one, and it died on me. But there's still a couple of sprouts on it, so it might come back. And maybe those sprouts, apparently in southwestern Ontario you can find remnants of them, and because of the sprouts, the tree might actually die and shoot new sprouts. This is one. That's created by the pond. That's the overflow of the pond. What we're looking at here is, this is about 2 acres of spruce that was planted back in 1982. And so we thought it was quite dense, and we thought maybe it could stand a thinning. And so I had it marked by a forester, And the machine has come in, and when he was done, I was not a very happy trooper because he left an awful lot of slash around, and it seems to me that he just made a path right through it and took all the best trees that he could find and did the clearing in that respect, and the thinning. So for anyone who is planning on doing the thinning, be very careful on who you're going to get to do it. They come in with a big machine, a feller, and they be done in no time and leave your woodlot in whatever shape it is, and you can't put them back. So make sure that whoever it is has your interest at heart as well, rather than just his own. The one I had, unfortunately, I had to come to the conclusion he was here to make $1, and he took whatever material he thought he could make money on, and then for the rest, he just left it. So, looking at a thinning operation of how it's supposed to be done, and this is what I was aiming for. And so you leave 2 rows and take out every 3rd row. And that gives them a little bit more, opens up the canopy, and it should make the trees grow much better. Unfortunately, the whole field isn't this way. The field has some marginal areas in it where the trees grow much smaller, and according to the contractor, they're not ready to be thinned yet, and so I'm going to leave them, but I'll take the good stuff. Out here is walnuts, which were planted in the early 90s. So they're 30 years old. I've planted 2 rows. There happens to be a little stream through the middle of it here, which is the overflow of the pond. And I figured that would be a nice fertile area for the walnuts. And the walnuts really do like it. But they like it so much that they kill everything around them. So I have particularly the spruce trees are really susceptible, and I've already cleared it out once and left them, and I only did that about 3 years ago, and all those trees had green tops to them, and they're all dead now, so I'll have to take them out. So we're looking at an area of about at least 30-40 feet that the walnut trees have spread their roots out and doing their job. So it's something that I have to find a solution for somehow and make that area useful for something else. What the walnuts do, they have a juglone into the root system, and the juglone is what kills it. So it's a natural herbicide that they apply, and does a very effective job in killing just about everything. So I'm just waiting to see what's coming up, and there isn't a whole lot of, particularly not in the terms of trees coming up. So that affects. All that is jewel wheat, just about a solid crop up along. Very nice succulent wheat. So when you're in the poison ivy or something, that's all you need to do is just go over it like that, and it'll take it away. So yeah, the jewel weed, which is supposed to be an antidote to poison ivy, what my wife does, she goes and harvests some of this about this time, and she presses the juices out of it and puts them in ice cube, puts them in the freezer, and that way she'll have jewel weed all year round. So whenever she gets into the poison ivy, because she's susceptible to it and I'm not, she, in the springtime, she can go out to there and get an ice cube and just rub it with an ice cube and counteract it. So what we're looking at here is another area that I've planted into black walnut. And this was an area that had mainly Manitoba maple and shrub trees on it, so I clear cutted that and planted it into walnut trees. And that has done much better for me. As you can see, there's fewer dead trees. There's an odd elm tree that died, what's amongst them. But other than that, the juglone doesn't seem to affect the neighboring trees nearly as bad as out there where the spruce is. So I like this way better. That's my wild blackberry bush, part of my edibles. Well, yeah, look at that, they're starting to come on. Hey, you have to try them. They're really good. Pick some. Sure, what's the best angle? It's even got the nuts on it. That's beautiful.